The closer the date draws to July 29th, the more intense the silence becomes. It's the kind of silence only fighters know. The kind that doesn't come from stillness, but from motion. The gloves don't stop. The sweat doesn't slow. The clock keeps ticking. But underneath it all, everything becomes quieter, focused, sharpened, stripped of distractions. For both Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios, this is the part of the journey that no camera can fully capture. The mental war before the actual fight. Pacquiao, who has walked through fire many times before, still finds something sacred in this silence. He rises early, as he always has. The sunrise isn't just a cue for roadwork, it's a reminder of the time lost, of the opportunities remaining. He jogs through streets that are familiar and unfamiliar at once. Onlookers wave. Drivers honk. Children try to keep up for a few blocks, laughing as they run beside greatness. But Pacquiao is not distracted. He hears them, sees them, even smiles occasionally, but his mind is deep somewhere else. What does it feel like to prepare your body at 45 years of age for a fight against a younger, hungrier man? For Pacquiao, it feels like discipline. It feels like years of muscle memory reactivating in rhythm. It feels like pain, but purposeful pain, the kind that has meaning. Each sparring round is a test, not just of reflex but of belief. Does he still have it? Can the old rhythm be reborn in time? Every jab he throws is answered by doubt, and every clean hit he lands quiets that doubt for a moment. The days are long. The nights are full of prayer. He's done this before, but never quite like this. Barrios, on the other side, carries a different kind of silence. His is the stillness of transformation. He knows the world still sees Pacquiao as the giant. He knows he walks into this fight as the younger man, but also the man with something to prove. He doesn't speak of pressure, but he feels it. Not just from fans or media, but from within. He knows this is the fight that could define his career. He trains with that urgency. Every punch, every sprint, every minute spent watching film is driven by one word: opportunity. While Pacquiao trains to preserve greatness, Barrios trains to seize it. He watches old fights. Inside the gym, Barrios' team pushes him hard. His coach talks to him constantly, not in hype but in precision. They talk defense. They talk patience. They drill counters over and over. They want Barrios to be ready not just physically, but emotionally. They remind him that he cannot fight Pacquiao like a fan. He must fight like a winner. There is no room for awe. Only execution. The mental games begin quietly. Barrios posts short training clips. No captions. Just speed, power, focus. Pacquiao does the same. The world watches both feeds, comparing, debating. Who looks sharper? Who is faster? Who wants it more? But neither fighter answers those questions publicly. They don't need to. Their bodies speak louder now. In the locker room, between training sessions, the internal dialogue never stops. Pacquiao remembers his first world title. He remembers the hungry years. He remembers being the underdog. It's strange to now be the legend with something to prove. But he doesn't run from that irony. He embraces it. That is the cost of legacy, you must defend it. Barrios thinks about his childhood. About the times his parents worked 2 jobs. About the posters on his wall. Some had Mayweather. Some had Pacquiao. Now he is fighting one of them. It almost feels surreal, until he's hit in the face during sparring. Then it becomes real again. The blood is real. The stakes are real. This is not a video game. It's the fight of his life. And then come the media appearances. The microphones. The lights. The questions. Manny, why come back now? He smiles, softly. Because I still have something to give. I'm not done yet. Mario, are you ready for a legend like Pacquiao? Barrios looks straight into the camera. I was born ready for this moment. But behind those answers lie entire storms of feeling. Pacquiao's calm masks the fire burning inside. He doesn't want to retire into the shadows. Not yet. He wants to walk away on his own terms. Their families feel the tension too. Pacquiao's wife, Jean Key, prays for safety, not just for victory. She has seen too many wars. Her love is strong, but her concern is stronger now. She worries about his health, his heart, his future beyond the ring. She supports him, yes, but she fears the cost of one more round. Barrios' mother keeps busy, trying not to let worry overtake her pride. She remembers the little boy who shadowboxed in the living room. Now he's stepping into a ring with a global icon. Her heart bursts with pride, but also tightens with fear. Boxing is brutal. She knows that. The weeks before the fight stretch and contract at once. Some days feel endless. Others vanish in the blink of an eye. Sleep becomes harder. Focus becomes sharper. And the dreams, they become more vivid. Pacquiao dreams of raising his hand one last time, of the roar of a crowd that never forgot him. Barrios dreams of making the world say his name, loud and clear. In moments of solitude, both men look in the mirror. Pacquiao sees the lines around his eyes, the gray strands in his hair. But he also sees the same fire in his gaze, the same determination. He mutters to himself, "You've done this before. You can do it again." Barrios sees a younger face, but one hardened by purpose. He doesn't smile. He stares. He nods. And whispers, "This is my time." Even their training styles reveal who they are. Pacquiao moves like a rhythm, a flow of old-school angles, head movement, flurries that build like music. He trains with purpose, not panic. He's not chasing a perfect body. He's sharpening a perfect instinct. Barrios moves like a machine. Each movement is tight, controlled, explosive. He works the bag with intent. He breathes hard but steady. He's not trying to imitate Pacquiao. He's trying to create a contrast. The sports world keeps buzzing. Fighters weigh in with their opinions. In every corner of the world, eyes are turning toward the ring. It's not just the fight itself, it's what it represents. Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios are preparing for one night of combat, but around them, millions are preparing too. Not with gloves or punches, but with emotion, loyalty, and memory. Boxing isn't just a sport this time. It's a conversation across continents. A cultural moment. A test of history versus future. And that conversation is getting louder with each passing day. In the Philippines, the energy is unmistakable. Streets are already lined with posters, television networks are running countdown graphics, and social media feeds are flooded with tributes, analysis, and hopeful prayers. To Filipinos, Pacquiao isn't just a boxer. He's family. He's history. He's proof that someone from nothing can become everything. The comeback isn't just about him, it's about them. About rising again. About proving that a Filipino can still stand tall on the world stage. Even outside of Manila or General Santos City, people are gathering around small TVs in barbershops, in market stalls, in community centers. Old men are recounting Pacquiao's battles like campfire legends. Teenagers are discovering him on YouTube, marveling at the speed, the angles, the courage. This isn't just a fight. It's a national revival. A reminder that hope isn't gone, it's just resting between rounds. Across the United States, the mood is different, but no less electric. For boxing fans, this is a curiosity. A spark. A strange collision of generations. There are those who grew up watching Pacquiao dismantle giants, and now they're watching him take on a man nearly 15 years younger. For many American fans, Mario Barrios is an exciting figure, a promising star who has climbed back from defeats and adjusted his game. But it's still Pacquiao who commands the mythology. The media may debate his age, but they never question his legacy. Commentators don't just talk about what he might do, they talk about what he already did. Because his resume isn't just impressive. It's historic. But while some tune in for nostalgia, others are here for disruption. A growing segment of American fans is rooting for Barrios not out of disrespect, but out of hunger for change. They see him as the next wave. They want to know if the future has finally caught up with the past. They want to know if youth and size and momentum are enough to eclipse legacy and genius. Barrios represents that question. And his supporters are starting to grow in number, volume, and confidence. In Mexico, the interest is layered. The Mexican boxing tradition has long respected warriors like Pacquiao, who fight with heart and grit. There's admiration, yes, but also curiosity. Barrios, while not Mexican by nationality, shares Latino roots, and there's pride in seeing a young Latino fighter rise. The Mexican fight community knows what it means to fight legends. They've done it countless times. And now they watch Barrios with measured hope. If he wins for all the young Latinos trying to break through the glass ceiling of legacy. In Europe, the narrative is more analytical. British, Spanish, and German sports networks are covering the fight from a tactical angle. Can Pacquiao handle the reach advantage? Is Barrios fast enough to match Manny's explosive bursts? Pundits are split. Some see it as an emotional farewell tour for Pacquiao. Others see it as a tactical setup for Barrios to leap into the spotlight. Either way, the fight is being dissected from angles both emotional and mathematical. It's boxing as poetry, but also boxing as a chess match. On social media, the conversation never stops. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, every platform is ablaze with predictions, training clips, old fight footage, and memes. Fan art of Pacquiao wearing a crown. Edits of Barrios with flames in his gloves. People tagging each other, arguing in comment sections, laughing at press conference clips, waiting for any tiny moment that might hint at how this fight will unfold. YouTubers are breaking down every detail. Fight analysts are comparing Barrios' recent performances with Pacquiao's style. How he handled Thurman. How he pushed Spence until the injury canceled the bout. How Barrios looked against Tank Davis. How his footwork has evolved. The contrast is what makes this fight so electric. It's not just old versus young. It's tempo versus timing. Pressure versus patience. Brilliance versus potential. Meanwhile, fellow boxers are weighing in. Some support Pacquiao with almost religious devotion. They've sparred with him. Shared locker rooms with him. They know his spirit. Others see this as Barrios' perfect moment. Not because they doubt Pacquiao's heart, but because they understand the toll of time. They know no one escapes it forever. Not even legends. The global boxing community isn't just watching, they're invested. Trainers in Ghana are using this fight to teach young boxers about respect and ambition. Coaches in Ukraine are breaking down Pacquiao's lateral movement as a case study. Fighters in Argentina are mimicking Barrios' body mechanics, trying to understand the torque behind his hooks. It's global education through the lens of combat. And then there's the emotional pull. For some fans, this is their last chance to see Pacquiao in the ring. Win or lose, they know this could be it. That knowledge changes everything. The excitement becomes bittersweet. The moments before the bell rings become more sacred. Because legends don't return forever. They return once more. Maybe twice if we're lucky. But time is undefeated. And fans feel that truth in their bones. At the same time, new fans, many too young to have seen Pacquiao in his prime, are being introduced to him not as a legend, but as a challenge. They see Barrios as the centerpiece. To them, Manny is the final test. Like a final boss in a game. And that reframing is fascinating. It shows how narratives shift over time. One man's peak becomes another man's proving ground. Sponsors and promoters are capitalizing on the global attention. Fight Week will be a storm of merchandise, documentaries, highlight reels, and interviews. Old stories will be retold with fresh polish. And then there's the betting world. Odds shift daily. Early lines favored Barrios slightly due to age and activity. But as Pacquiao's training videos spread, some bookmakers began adjusting. Not because he looks 25 again, but because he looks ready. Composed. Dangerous in his own way. And that alone is enough to sway the gamblers who bet on heart as much as technique. Television networks are building packages. Promos with slow-motion shots of Pacquiao's signature angles. Barrios unleashing body shots in silence before the music hits. Promoters know how to sell emotion. They know how to make the casual viewer stop scrolling and watch. They use the old war footage, the belt ceremonies, the tears, the triumphs. Because this isn't just a fight. It's a global drama. Behind closed doors, teams are preparing too. Pacquiao's camp knows the world will be watching every feint, every miss, every moment of fatigue. They're planning for pace, not just power. They want to surprise with sharpness. Show the world he's not here for a farewell tour. He's here to win. Barrios' camp is mapping pressure points. They believe he can take Pacquiao into deep water. They know Manny starts fast. But what happens in round 8? Round 10? If Barrios can absorb and respond, they believe he can turn the tide. They aren't worried about names. They're focused on rounds. On minutes. On execution. The noise, the legacy talk, they must find stillness. Because on July 29th, none of the tweets matter. None of the promos. None of the posters. Only the fists. Only the heartbeats. That's what boxing always returns to: two fighters, two corners, one truth. The world may shout, but inside the ring, the moment whispers. It asks, "Are you ready?" And there's no hiding from the answer. As the days close in, the air shifts. Flights are booked. Venues are dressed. Commentators polish their lines. Fans mark calendars. But the real preparation isn't visible. It happens in minds. In memories. In muscles. Pacquiao feels the weight of an entire nation's hope, but also the freedom of legacy already secured. He fights now not to prove something to us, but to himself. Barrios feels the eyes of the future. If he wins, he doesn't just defeat a legend. He becomes something else entirely. He becomes inevitable. That tension, that contrast, is why the world can't look away. It's why they're waking up early, staying up late, tuning in from Tokyo to Toronto, Manila to Miami. This is no ordinary fight. This is global. This is personal. This is history waiting to be written, and the whole world is watching with bated breath. Some fights are won before the bell rings. Not with fists, but with the mind. Before the lights come on and the referee speaks, before the crowd roars and the punches land, there's another battle taking place, a quiet war of thoughts, pressure, memory, and identity. It's invisible to the crowd but louder than anything else to the fighters themselves. That's the war Pacquiao and Barrios are now fighting every day. And how they survive it may determine what happens on July 29th more than any combination of punches ever could. For Manny Pacquiao, this mental battlefield is both familiar and uncharted. He's faced the highest pressure before: global title fights, national expectations, political distractions, but this comeback brings something different. There's no belt on the line. No mandatory challenger. No official need to return. So why fight? The question haunts even his closest allies. It circles him in press rooms, in training camps. And the truth, though rarely spoken, is this: he doesn't need to prove himself to the world. But he might feel the need to prove something to himself. After decades of glory, fame, and sacrifice, a fighter begins to wonder if there's more gas in the tank. Not just physically, but emotionally. Pacquiao isn't just training his body, he's training his confidence. Rebuilding the belief that lightning can strike again. That his timing is still sharp. That the ring still belongs to him. And that belief doesn't come easily after years away. It comes in silence, in the hours when the cameras are off, when the body aches, and when the doubt creeps in like fog. He watches old fights, not for technique, but for fuel. He sees the fire in his younger eyes. He remembers what it felt like to win when no one expected him to. He holds on to those moments. Not as trophies, but as anchors. Because memory is the only thing that keeps fear from swallowing potential. Manny's mind must walk a tightrope between confidence and reality. He knows Barrios is hungry. He knows time is no longer his ally. But he also knows himself. And that may be his sharpest weapon of all. Barrios, on the other hand, is entering a different kind of storm. He isn't chasing legacy, he's trying to build one. That sounds easier, but it comes with its own weight. Because when you fight a legend, you don't just fight the man in front of you. You fight every ghost behind him. You fight the myth. You fight the crowd's expectation that he'll somehow pull it off again. Barrios must stay calm in the face of history itself. And that's no small task. He doesn't have the luxury of surprise. He knows the world sees Pacquiao as the hero. Even if they respect Barrios, they won't love him like they love Manny. Not yet. Maybe not ever. He walks into this fight as the villain in many eyes. And that's a dangerous place to stand, especially when the opponent thrives on public energy. Barrios has to silence the noise. Block the cheers. Fight the man, not the moment. And that takes ruthless focus. In the gym, Barrios is sharpening everything: footwork, defense, rhythm. But behind every drill is a question: will it be enough? Not because he doubts his skill, but because legends have a way of bending logic. Fighters with less speed, less strength, and less youth have tried and failed to break the aura of fighters like Pacquiao. Barrios knows that boxing isn't just physical. He knows that when the bell rings, Manny brings more than punches, he brings momentum, memory, and millions of voices shouting his name. So Barrios trains not just for combat, but for chaos. He visualizes everything. The crowd screaming. The unexpected angle. The sudden surge in round 4. The moment when Pacquiao digs deep and becomes a 25-year-old again for 60 terrifying seconds. Barrios isn't training for a clean fight. He's training for a storm. For unpredictability. Because he understands that in the mental war, survival depends on how well you've prepared for the unknown. Both camps are working hard to keep the emotional temperature controlled. In Pacquiao's corner, his family and team members tread carefully. They know he's carrying more than just gloves. They see it in his eyes. They hear it in the quiet moments after training. He's calm, but not careless. Focused, but not desperate. He wants to win, but he doesn't fear losing. And that balance is both beautiful and terrifying. Because it means he's fighting with freedom, nothing to lose, everything to gain. And that kind of fighter is often the most dangerous.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For more exciting videos, make sure to hit the bell icon and stay updated. Subscribe to Boxing Hub now for all the latest in boxing.